Hello, my name is Kitty, and in today's video, I'm gonna talk about fears and limiting beliefs, as you can see it from the title of this video. So, my first few YouTube videos are literally a pain for me to watch because let's not even talk about it. And this one might also be another one, but they represent a lot because they are like the sign that I'm growing. They are a step to a bigger goal. So, and this goal is that I decided to face my fear, work to my limiting beliefs, and get out of my comfort zone. The first fear I had to face was my fear of failure and my fear of never being good enough. And not facing these fears made me become a perfectionist and not being able to achieve perfection either from never acted on anything I had in mind. Whether it was writing a book, or a business, or be an artist, anything that would passionate me, I would just like, why bother, If I couldn't master it perfectly, I wouldn't even start. And just like that, everything that I had in mind, whatever project I had in mind, never really existed in reality because I would just never do anything about them. And when I had the idea of creating my YouTube channel, I was almost on the verge of like throwing it away, following the same pattern I've been following since I've been, I don't know when. And I noticed the pattern, and after time passed, I was like, okay, you know what? I don't like this way of thinking, and this is not serving me any good, and I want to change it. I had to change something. So if you find yourself in the same situation as me, you can stick till the end of this video, and I will share with you 3 steps that I followed to get myself out of this situation, this perfectionism mindset, and like facing my fears and limiting beliefs. So, the first step I will share with you is the acknowledgement of your idea, at least, or the acknowledgement of the importance of your idea. What I mean is that you're gonna sit down with yourself, maybe you journal or you do whatever you want, or you sit down and think about it, and you ask yourself, is this really important to me? And if the answer is yes, for whatever reason, you're gonna follow with my next step. And if the answer is no, well, you can go. You just let it be. And now, if you want to follow with the next step, you're gonna identify whatever way you're thinking, which is not doing you good. Which, like, why are you not taking an action on this idea? Now, for this step, I want you to put aside everything that is outside of your control. I want you to put aside like financial resources, your capacity. If you have those things and you still can't act on whatever you had in mind, it means that your problem is not something from the outside, but like rather something from the inside. It's something in your mindset that you have to change. And once you realize this, I want you to sit down and write down any thoughts that you might have that is preventing you from actually starting or acting on the idea that you have or the project that you want to do. And I want you to write the list of these things. There's beliefs, there's fears, because that's what you're gonna mostly find if you do that. And I want you to be as honest as possible, even if you hurt your ego. And for me, the limiting beliefs I associated with my idea of creating a YouTube channel was that I'm not knowledgeable enough to start a YouTube channel. Like, I'm not articulate enough to communicate my thoughts in front of the camera, or I can never be like the people that I admire, whether it's my favorite YouTuber or my favorite author. It's like I would just compare myself to them and be like, why should I even start? I think like that. And I had the fear of failure or a fear of embarrassment or not reaching the standards that I had set for myself, which by the way were too high because a lot of time we lack compassion for ourselves. You can't ask a newborn to run. You just can't because it doesn't make sense. And I don't know why we expect ourselves to be the master of something that we never tried, but it's just silly, it just doesn't make sense. So you have to be compassionate to yourself and, don't be afraid to start as a beginner, to be a beginner, to not know, because you have to not know to be able to know. So to go back to what I was saying, we already saw two steps. The first step is you acknowledge the importance of your idea. You say, okay, this is important to me, I want to do something about it. And the second one is that, okay, this is how I think, that is preventing me from taking an action on this idea that I thought was important for me. And the third step is you're gonna sit down and contradict everything you said in the second step. Okay? You can either write counterclaims or take action. This will make you realize that you have the power to change your way of thinking. You have the power of shifting your reality by shifting your perspective. Instead of staying stuck in the same place, with beliefs that aren't doing you any good, or you're gonna, change your way of seeing things, and you will automatically realize that you're gonna improve, and change in positive ways. So in my case, I found that taking an action worked best because it showed me right away that I created my rules and I can break them. So it's the same for you. Create your rules and you can break them. And for example, I started my YouTube channel with little to no experience. And by doing that, I faced my fear of failure and my fear of embarrassment because I was gonna be embarrassed. I posted a couple of videos, you know, they were not as good as I would want them to be. But by doing that, I faced my fear of not being good enough because they're not as good as I want them to be. So it's okay. And I realized I'm not dead. Yeah, so why did I never start? I also search for information or like read podcasts and search tutorial and looking for information about how to articulate more and read more books to expand my vocabulary to be able to discredit or contradict the belief that I'm not articulate enough or I'm not knowledgeable enough to share my thoughts in front of a camera. And just like that, your idea will slowly but surely become reality. A lot of time we think that our self-image and our like fears and beliefs are set in stone, but they aren't. We create them, and we have the power to change them. So if your current set of belief is not doing any good to you, or it's not serving you any good, you can always switch them because you hold the switch. It's all in your mind. It's really all in your mind. Because everything that you create, everything that ever existed came from a thought, They came from a thought process, but that was, transformed into an act. Yes, this is just like those three steps might help, face your fears and your limiting beliefs, but they can also help you create things that you wouldn't even think that you could create. I'm talking from experience. Like my channel is not big yet. It's not, like these big channels out there, but it exists, already. It's something I couldn't have said like maybe months earlier because it was just a thought that I was like, okay, I'm never gonna act on because I'm afraid of this or that and I can't do this or that. When in reality, you can do them and maybe you really can't do them at the moment, but if you really want to do it, then you learn how to do it and then now you can do it. I don't know if you see exactly the essence of what I'm trying to say, but long story short is that you can always switch the beliefs that you have if they're not good to another set of beliefs. So, summarize this video. If you find yourself, like, if your fear and limiting beliefs prevent you from living the life you want to live and you want that to change, acknowledge like the importance of the ideas or project that comes to you when you think about them, and identify the way of thinking that you have that is preventing you from taking an action on this project, on this idea. And after these two steps, you try actively to prove yourself wrong by contradicting all of these limiting beliefs and fears that you like identified. So after doing this, you will realize that a lot of things that you thought would be impossible for you to reach are not that impossible actually. You just thought they were. And once you change that thought, you realize that okay, I can do this. And I hope you were inspired because that was my goal. And I thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. If you liked it, I hope you can subscribe and like. hit the like button and leave a comment to share your thoughts, or to share other tips that could work for the same problem. And thank you for watching again, and see you next video. Bye bye.